And now I'm proud that another beloved Canadian is here to present this award to Mr. Shatner. Please welcome to the stage my good friend, Eric McCormack.
I know I was already here, but I'm wearing glasses now, so it seems different. What can you say about William Shatner that hasn't already been said about Sarah Jessica Parker? Well, quite a bit actually, because they're very different. You know, so often Lifetime Achievement Awards are given to artists whose most relevant contributions were decades ago. Their active years far behind them. But I ask you, for a man whose most famous role was created 45 years ago, is there anyone more here, more now, more in your freaking face all the time than Bill Shatner? You know, cats in their 9th life are like, what is with this guy? How many cats do you have, man? William Shatner, born Montreal 1931. By the age of 24, he had worked his way through what little television and film there was in Canada at the time, and he'd headed for New York City, appearing in all of the major TV anthologies: Studio One, Kraft Television Theater, Playhouse 90, not to mention The Outer Limits, and the greatest episode of The Twilight Zone ever. We all know which one I'm talking about, right? Then 10 years he worked nonstop in Los Angeles, guest starring in Route 66, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., The Fugitive, Big Valley, Gunsmoke. I think for a lot of crews down there, Bill may have been the first reason they ever had to put the words Canadian and actor in the same sentence. Of course, it was a little sci-fi pilot in 66 that would forever change Bill Shatner's status from guest star to star. Now, the 3-year run of Star Trek was not actually a gigantic success. It was in the reruns that my generation would turn it into a phenomenon and make the name Captain James T. Kirk as iconic as Sherlock Holmes or Tarzan. And in a way, Kirk was a bit of both. You know, he was a seeker of truth that was all too often shirtless. Way too often. You know how many TV series become major motion pictures with their and motion picture franchises with their entire casts intact? 2. Sex and the City and Star Trek. See where I was going with the Sarah Jessica Parker thing? Trek spawned 5 big screen hits, the 5th directed by Bill himself. And by the early 80s, Bill Shatner was bigger than ever. Now that should have been it, right? I mean, by that point, there was no way he'd be able to convince the world that he was anyone but Kirk. Well, perhaps you never met T.J. Hooker. It takes balls to go from a captain named Kirk to a sergeant named Hooker. But Bill's always had balls. Shortly after Hooker's 4-year run, Bill became a successful author with the Tech Wars series, which he then produced as a series of popular TV movies. Now, surely his already 3-act career had reached its zenith. I mean, right? No, not hardly. Because it was during this period that we were introduced to the other Shatner. The funny Shatner. I mean, the intentionally funny Shatner. Starting with his famous Get a Life sketch on SNL, Shatner began to take the piss out of himself in a way that usurped all the comedians who had ever got a laugh speaking like this. From his run on Third Rock from the Sun to Miss Congeniality to countless appearances as himself, Bill reconceived Bill as hilarious. And how could we know that all of it was just a ramp-up to the role that would finally win him an Emmy and a Golden Globe, Denny Crane on Boston Legal. If James T. Kirk was a 20-year-long meal, Denny was a most glorious dessert, insane, touching, and completely unexpected. The end? Of course not. Now, a talk show host, a delirious pitchman, and this fall the star of a new sitcom produced by the guys who created Will and Grace, Shit My Father Says. The Shatner steam engine is in no danger of stopping. So, what's the secret? Well, I worked with Bill in a little movie called Free Enterprise. You saw a little of it in my reel there. When we shot that scene, the night Bill arrived, he was wearing that outfit, a World War II flak jacket and a captain's hat. I said to the director, "What's with the getup?" He said, apparently he bought it at like a flea market today. And I said, "Yeah, well, surely he's not going to wear it in the scene." He said, "Yeah." Well, I said, well, why? He said, don't worry about it. I said, but it doesn't make any sense. He said, "Eric, don't question it. It's Shatner."